If we go by the two major rival national parties of India, our ruling party and the leading party of the opposition, both are sleeping with our enemy. In fact, the enemy number one, China. The BJP says the Congress parties, rather Congress dynasty's trust, had received rupees 1 crore plus donation from the Chinese embassy. That was in 2006 when the Congress was in power at the center. It was a one-time donation, but the BJP's allegation is, by accepting that 1 crore donation, the Congress was bribed into silence while Chinese went about spreading their tentacles all over the country. One may ask, is the price of the ruling party of India just over $100,000 to look the other way for the enemy to continue its stealth offensive? Remember an Australian professor, Clive Hamilton. He had written an explosive book named Silent Invasion. In that book, Professor Hamilton wrote that Australian Prime Minister, Labour leader Bob Hawke, who was accused by the opposition Conservative Party of Australia of hobnobbing with the Chinese government, had actually built a personal fortune of tens of thousands of dollars. And Professor Hamilton showed that the benefactor clearly was China. How much money did our Prime Minister Manmohan Singh make for sleeping with the enemy? Or if you dismiss Manmohan Singh as a proxy Prime Minister, then how much the ruling party, or at least the real power center at the ruling party, the dynasty, got? They ought to have extracted at least $100 million from the Chinese to let it spread its wave. Mind you, $100 million is just peanuts for China. It has paid double that amount, $200 million, to each of several American universities to create Chinese chairs at those iconic institutions. But an Indian government up for grabs just over $1 lakh. Isn't that a ludicrous accusation? Yes, the BJP was well within its right to say that the Congress, the ruling party, ought not to have taken that 1 crore donation from a foreign country. That sends out wrong signals, especially when that foreign country happens to be China with its dubious credentials. But to accuse the Congress government of letting China to undermine India's national interest is low politics. But then the Congress is no better. Look at its accusations. It is saying, despite Galwan, where 20 of our brave soldiers were martyred, despite repeated Chinese incursions to encroach upon our territory, why is India not able to decouple itself from China in trade and commerce and other business activities? After Galwan, the BJP government made big noises about dissociating India from major economic activities with China. But what happened on the ground? Actually, our economic ties have remained as strong as ever, perhaps stronger after Galwan, the Congress says. Our trade deficit with China today stands at a staggering $73 billion. 174 new Chinese companies have registered in India during this period. 35 Indian companies still have Chinese directors on their boards. Is that a sign of decoupling? Or is that a clear sign of Jugalbandi, a warm embrace? The Congress asked. Well, these may be telltale facts, but the Congress, which has been in power for decades, ought to know very well that decoupling two closely tied economies is not an easy exercise. If we hasten the process, we may be the worst sufferer compared to China, because China is the more dominant economy in our country-to-country trade. We should look at United States, the biggest economy of the world. Even USA is taking very tentative steps in reducing its dependence on China for the import of manufactured goods. Even its relations with China have turned very frosty. If the Congress is then accusing BJP of a conspiracy of collaboration with China behind the backdrop, while frothing at China in front of the camera, then that is dishonest politics. In Australia, the accusation of deliberate complicity was based on solid evidence. Professor Hamilton had shown Australian Trade Minister Andrew Rubb was paid by a Chinese Communist Party linked conglomerate $700,000 annually for several years in succession, till the scandal unfolded and convulsed the Australian politics. We cannot accept that our Trade Minister Piyush Goyal is a traitor to our nation, just as Andrew Rubb was to Australia. There is certainly no evidence of it, at least no evidence at this stage. We must reckon that China is a vicious enemy. The two major parties of our country must not fall into the trap by accusing each other as a Chinese agent. That would be their great service